The conversations around Megan Thee Stallion's lawsuit is a prime example of the harm and danger that comes with one-sided parasocial relationships to celebrities and how it is imperative that we divest from these relationships. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the Black V-Link on.
So what's going on, you all? Megan Thee Stallion has been named in a lawsuit and is being sued by a former employee who was her photographer, and he is basically suing for unpaid wages. Now, looking at the titles from the blogs and everything else in the conversation, you would think it is something else based off of what we have seen online. But this is a wage claim lawsuit. But unfortunately, a lot of blogs and people ran with the story that this was a harassment claim, and it is not. Now, we're not saying that harassment did not happen. Just because someone doesn't file it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. But there was one claim that was made that could be interpreted as harassment and nothing else. There was only one claim. So basically, this lawsuit is about unpaid wages. It was so bad seeing how so many people jumped with the narrative that this was a harassment claim without doing any research or reading, just trying to get clicks and stuff. And it was so bad that The Root ran an article basically naming Megan Thee Stallion as the female Diddy. They later deleted the tweet, and it just shows you how hungry and how thirsty a lot of these blogs are. A lot of these folks are not true journalists, and even the folks who may have a journalist degree are trying to get clicks and views because they know that if they run with a specific title that a fan base will pick it up and run with it. And the damage has already been done. Even though, you know, The Root has deleted that tweet, the damage has already been done. And conversations like this really take away from the true conversations around harassment claims and people who have experienced real harm. Not saying that Emilio did not experience any of these things. We do not know that. That is the purpose of this lawsuit. Yes, to us, it may seem as though this is a shakedown. This is a way for a person to get money, I do not know Megan Thee Stallion. None of us know Megan Thee Stallion. None of us know Emilio Garcia. We do not know these people. Like, these folks are celebrities. Well, Megan is a celebrity. Emilio is not a celebrity. But these folks, we do not know. And we can't say that Megan Thee Stallion, this doesn't sound like her. This doesn't sound like something that Megan Thee Stallion will do. We don't know that. We don't know that. But it's imperative for us to believe the victim 100% from the very beginning, because if we believe the victim, we will eventually get to the truth. But if we dismiss any claims or any conversations about said accusations, we never get to the truth. We never do get to that. So it needs to be taken serious. But how we are sensationalizing this conversation, to me, shows how dangerous the one-sided parasocial relationships online are, and how a specific group of fans ran with this narrative, not really caring about the victim, not really caring about the potential harm that the victim has experienced, not even showing us in any type of capacity that they have ever cared about victims of any type of harassment or anything. It really is unfortunate, and it's really, really sad. And, you know, I want to talk about it because I have some thoughts. So these lawyers who are basically taking these lawsuits or whatever do a specific thing where they prepare the lawsuit in a way for the blogs and stuff to run with it. They'll go ahead and send the filing straight to specific blogs and stuff. And when it is time for it to be released, it's just a whole thing. The same thing happened with Cassie. But with Cassie's claims, you know, it was a little bit way more organized. It was more detailed. Cassie's lawsuit with Diddy had a lot of things in it. It was not charges, because I think folks got confused because people were saying that charges were filed against Megan Thee Stallion. No charges were filed against Megan Thee Stallion. This is a lawsuit. No prosecutor is filing any charges against Megan Thee Stallion. No prosecutors have filed anything towards Diddy. A lawsuit from Cassie detailing harassment and all types of other harm that she experienced was her way of getting back coins that she was owed for her harm. Now that case has been settled out of court. Diddy paid her whatever, and they have moved on. But now there is a lot of conversation about Diddy and, you know, what's next for him, because there has been other victims who have came forward, other folks who have alleged certain things. And yes, maybe some of those are folks trying to get money, but any person who has experienced harm from anybody, I don't have no issue with them suing for coin. I don't have any issue. We go to court, I believe the victim 100% from the beginning, because we will get to the truth. We've seen that. But if we dismiss any claim and stuff, although this is, you know, this is messed up for somebody like Megan Thee Stallion, who's been dealing with harassment and stuff for the last couple of years and has been through a lot. You know, it is unfortunate that it is happening, but we must take these claims serious. So like I said, the lawyers who take these cases know what they are doing, and a way to get a lot of press, a lot of attention. I feel like a lot of these lawyers have learned from what has happened with, you know, Cassie and Diddy, and how that was put out, that they are doing the same thing. But we look at the lawsuit and we do not really see a lot of stuff that holds the weight from the title. If you're saying that these things happen, we need to see strong evidence of that. Cassie had strong evidence. She had other witnesses and stuff who can, you know, take into account. Sometimes people do not have witnesses, but she had detailed things in the lawsuit. We did not get that much from Emilio's lawsuit towards Megan Thee Stallion. He said that it was a, you know, harmful work environment, toxic work environment. He said he was working, you know, so many hours, he was not getting breaks like he was supposed to. And he did describe a situation where he was in a vehicle, an SUV, while something was going on. Some type of intimacy was going on between Megan Thee Stallion, and I think that he named that it was another woman, child, and he was in there, and you know, she didn't know that he was in there. Later on, she texted him and said, "Oh, I didn't know you was in the vehicle." I did not see any screenshot of that or whatever. I didn't see a screenshot of that text message or whatever. I would have liked to have seen that. And like I said, if a person has done something like that, like if you are engaging in that type of behavior next to somebody where it's like, it's went past from like touch to other things, y'all know what I'm talking about, then that is inappropriate. That is inappropriate, especially if this is an employee that works for you. They do not have as much power to be able to say, I'm uncomfortable with this, because they need to work to make money to pay bills. So if that did happen, that's you know, Megan owes him a coin for that, because he did not consent to being in that situation. Now, for the folks who are jumping on that and saying that that is harassment and all that, which it is, we also need to have a conversation about the content that a lot of us are consuming on Miss Fans, where people do stuff like this and y'all be retweeting it, engaging in it, subscribing to it and all that. Like, if we gonna really go there and have conversations, we have to go there 100%, because the way we engage in stuff online, the way we talk to folks that we do not know online, and I honestly want to do a whole video about how harassment has transformed differently online, that people say things online to people that they wouldn't say in person, and people online are not consenting to being talked to like that. When people are talking to folks in very suggestive manner, you wouldn't do that in person. You would think that was like something is wrong, so why are you doing it online? So it's like things are still here. If we're going to really have a conversation about these things, we have to keep our foot on the gas. So a couple of people, including one of my favorite reporters, Megan the Reporter, Megan Cunniff, talked about this case Monday on her live stream.
About this Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit, I was like, oh, that sounds like a West Coast trial lawyers lawsuit if I've ever heard one. Sure enough, not only is it West Coast trial lawyers, it's actually the lawyer who's suing Lizzo. And the complaints are pretty similar. I mean, it's overall, it's an employment lawsuit. And when you look up the lawyer for West Coast trial lawyers who filed it, he's an employment lawyer. Like, this is not, I mean, the harassment charge is hostile work environment harassment, which is a employment charge.
She basically said that claims like this, lawsuits or whatever like this, basically get settled out of court. It's very slim chance that they make it to LA Superior Court. It doesn't become a trial. Now, what's also interesting about this is the same person who is representing Emilio Garcia is the same person who is representing the folks who are suing Lizzo, the dancers of Lizzo, who are suing her for harassment and toxic work environment. We've not received any other updates about that lawsuit. From what I'm seeing, they're saying that it's more than likely going to be thrown out of court. And looking at this lawsuit, the things just do not hold that much weight. Like, they do not hold that much weight. The conversation about a toxic work environment, it is very hard to prove that. It is very hard to actually win these type of cases. For those who have been following me for years, who remember when I was working at Bar Louie back, I can't remember when that was, but I was working at Bar Louie in Memphis that is now shut down. There was a person who called me out of my name. He called me the F word while I was at work. And I reported it to managers, and they did not, fire him or anything. They allowed him to work there. And he continued to harass me after that. Like, he continued to harass me. After I brought it to the manager's attention, that was their favorite bartender. They loved him, whatever, but he was truly homophobic. And they cut my hours. They tried to push me on the verge of quitting. And I should have filed a lawsuit. I wish I did, but I did not have the knowledge. But I remember talking about it with the folks who watch me or whatever. And I appreciate the folks who called Bar Louie and got on them for weeks about that. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. But I knew that it would be difficult to file a lawsuit or to go, try to get compensation for this. Because, you have to have money. You have to have money. So, unfortunately, things like this do happen. This type of job it's a lot. It's a lot. We just seen that, Offset had posted a tweet and said he was looking for hungry videographers and creatives and stuff, and folks said this is a major red flag. Like, anybody who's coming and saying, hey, I'm looking for hungry folks, that means that it's going to be a very toxic work environment. They're going to be asking work from you. They're going to be working you to the bone, and it's not going to be good pay. They're going to more than likely be stealing your ideas. Not saying that it's 100% sure that Offset will do that, but a lot of people who have worked in this industry came out and said that this is a major red flag and stay far away from like positions and stuff like this. I do agree that, the work that Emilio was doing can be a lot, because it's just, you're a contractor. Like, you don't know when you're going to work. You don't know when you're going to be here. You're traveling. Seeing how much Emilio was allegedly paid for him to be traveling and stuff, he should have been compensated more. Like, if I'm having to uproot myself and like travel with you and I need to be compensated for that. But unfortunately, some of us, some of these, folks are so hungry to be around these celebrities that they forget about the compensation and stuff. Like, they fan out. And sometimes celebrities do use that as a way to steal wages. Like, if you have this opportunity to work with me and do this and that, and then you are so blinded by all these things and these trips and stuff that you forget that you're not being compensated. I remember Glorilla was called out last year for doing this. She posted a job requirement, to be her assistant, and she named a whole bunch of stuff, and then she talked about the pay, and the pay was like less than $3,000-$4,000 a month. That's not no money. That's for all the work that I am doing. It needs to be more. I'm always going to advocate for someone working, getting more wages, point blank period. Like, I just don't know what to tell you. Now, come to find out, Megan Thee Stallion, they did let him go. Rock Nation let him go. And around this time, Megan Thee Stallion was not doing anything. She was on a hiatus. So I can understand, like, hey, like, we dropping your pay a little bit and we no longer need your services. Now, it is seeming as though, from what the streets is saying, I can't confirm this, they're saying that Emilio might have been fired because he was leaking information to Nicki Minaj. Now, Nicki Minaj, she did post like a tweet back when they were, but back when Nicki was beefing about herself. She tweeted about somebody being fired. It seemed like that she had some inside tea. She had said that she knows some stuff that's going on behind the scenes or whatever. And around this time, Emilio was tweeting and agreeing with her. And he even tweeted that he would love to work with Nicki Minaj. It is interesting seeing Emilio, who is the person, you know, in the lawsuit, who is suing, shouting out Nicki Minaj and fangirling, wanting to work with her. You're going to be put in the same situation. You're going to be put in the same situation where you need to separate work from yourself. Like, this is not that. And I think that, if anything for me, I think that this is a learning experience for Megan Thee Stallion, realizing that, hey, the people who work for you, you cannot be friends with. You have to separate that. And, you know, it's a double-edged sword, because if she does do that, she might be called a B word. She might be considered difficult to work with, like, oh, she was real rude to me. Because that's how, you know, that's what black women deal with. Like, they can't be straight up and say, hey, this is that. Men can do that. Like, men can do that because it's expected of them, but women cannot do that. Even Megan Thee Stallion shared that she was like friending folks who were not necessarily her friends and who did not really care about her best interest. She even talked about alcohol and how, you know, that came up and stuff. So, you know, she had lost a lot of people. She felt alone. So I can understand that happens, but we have to do like a better job. Like, you cannot be friends in that type of situation, because you hold all the power. Megan Thee Stallion holds all the power in this like dynamic. So you cannot be friends with this person. Like, you cannot do that. Now I want to talk about the one-sided parasocial relationships that is happening in the conversation with Megan Thee Stallion, because we are seeing like both sides. Like, Nicki Minaj fans jump up. They were harassing Megan the reporter and saying, hey, why you not covering this? Why you not talking about this? Is it because you're on payroll with Roc Nation? Mind you, Megan the reporter came out and said, hey, like, I am working on other cases and other things. So Nicki Minaj fans were all in this reporter's messages and inbox and her mentions, calling her out for not talking about the story, saying that she's on payroll for Roc Nation and da-da-da. And Megan said, you know, the reporter said, hey, I'm working on stuff. And she ended up doing a live stream about it. And she went through and read the lawsuit. And she was basically calling what it was. Like, you know, this looks to me like it's a shakedown. She was very adamant about like not dismissing claims of harassment and all the other stuff, because it does happen, but none of those like claims were really in there. Like, it was just not enough stuff in there to support what a lot of the blogs and stuff were running with, like calling her the female Diddy. Diddy has been in the industry how long and has been doing this? Like, folks are going back in the 90s saying he's been doing harmful stuff. Megan Thee Stallion has not been out for like a couple of years now. She's not even, what, 30 years old? And we've not seen Megan Thee Stallion have relationships with folks who are 20 years younger than her. So how are you comparing her? Like, you're doing this salacious stuff to get clicks and stuff. And that's what's happening with journalism right now. And I respect people like Megan Conniff, who's, you know, being detailed and talking about it with an unbiasedness that makes me want to, you know, listen to her and like, I respect the work. Fans of Nicki Minaj have never really ever cared about any of the harm that Nicki's husband has done. They have dismissed it. Nicki Minaj had lied and said that the victim was a white woman and tried to make it seem like it was a racial thing. Like, Nicki Minaj was very dismissive about it, and her fans, you know, consumed it. They ate it up. They enjoyed every minute of it and was like, oh, okay. But now that it's a conversation about, you know, harassment, it's like, oh, well, let's look into it. Like, now y'all want to be researchers. Now y'all want to say, oh, let's find out, let's go on. And it's just very devastating, because we are taken away from actual victims that are experiencing harm in real time, like right now. And they're using this as a gotcha moment. Like, oh, this is gotcha. See, look, y'all fave too. It wasn't even y'all fave too, because y'all are not even trying to acknowledge that harm did happen with Nicki Minaj's husband. Like, y'all are not doing that. And on the fans of Megan Thee Stallion, you had folks saying, this doesn't sound like Megan Thee Stallion. I don't think she would do that. It's like, you do not know Megan Thee Stallion. Y'all are not friends with Megan Thee Stallion. Y'all have not been in the SUV or around her to know what she does in her free time when she's not online. Megan Thee Stallion can go live as many times as she wants to. she can tweet, she can all that other stuff, she can put bars and stuff. It doesn't mean that we know her. We do not know these celebrities. We don't know what they are capable of. I'm glad that Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer came out and said that this is a wage claim, not a harassment claim. And you know, I don't expect Megan Thee Stallion to get online to address this because this is very calculated. She has to be calculated with this because anything said wrong can lead to other stuff, da 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 da. So I don't expect her to come out and say it, but I do think that we do need something. We need something. Like, this is very serious. Like, stuff like this does happen in the industry. We need to know what is going on. But, you know, folks did not want to believe that this was possible or any type of, this doesn't sound like Megan. I'm just like, you do not know Megan Thee Stallion. And even myself I had to check myself when the story came out. I was like, in my head, I'm like, this doesn't really sound like something Megan Thee Stallion. In my head, like, I was like, but I don't know this woman. Like, I don't know her. Like, I don't know her. Like, I don't know her to say this. Like, I don't. And I feel like it's easy for us to get trapped into these parasocial relationships with celebrities because they make it easy for us to consume them, because the more we consume them, the more money they make. So it's not necessarily our fault, but we need to be more aware of it and the potential harm that comes with it, because we can't be out here defending folks based off of what we know about them and we do not know them. We can't get out and say that. And it was just very toxic watching both fan bases engage in the conversation, and neither one of them were really concerned about the actual victims. And I say victims because the, you know, alleged victim of Emilio, or what harm he may have, you know, received with working with Megan Thee Stallion and being in the SUV or whatever happened, to the harm that an actual victim experienced by the hands of Nicki Minaj's husband, who has been convicted and is a registered offender, where Nicki Minaj tried to, you know, help her husband cover it up and, you know, using her funds to support him in the legal situation. Like, it's just, you know, like, girl, like, y'all have to stop. It also reminds me that I am making the best decision when it comes to divesting from celebrities. I did a video about it on Patreon. I talked about an experience that I have had with someone that I thought was a friend, and their one-sided parasocial relationship came in between us. And it's quite interesting that although I blocked them and not communicating with them, like a couple of weeks ago, I decided to do that. And they only found out that I blocked them after this news of Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit being dropped. So I'm just like, you were about to reach out to me to let me know that Megan Thee Stallion was being sued. Is the probably reason why you just found out. Like, it's just, once again, a reminder to me that I have made the right decision for myself and protected my mental health, because I just do not want to be surrounded around people who are doing these type of things, and I don't want to be consuming celebrities 24/7 like that. And this is coming from someone who talks about things. Like, I talk about these things, but I just do not, I don't spend my time 24/7 defending celebrities. I don't even spend my time dragging celebrities that much, to be honest. I drag situations and behaviors that just so happen to be tied to a celebrity at that time. So those are my thoughts about that. Like, we have to do a better job of how we consume celebrities, and let's work on that. That's all I got. Let me know how you felt about my conversation in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.